Should we try this again, Steven?
Let's try it again.
You know, that's why we said we were going to triple check this week. Triple, duple, quadruple, 8 million checks. And we had to start. We had the light flare coming from my hair, so we delayed our start just a minute, and so we decided to stop the Atomos instead of wasting the extra footage just to do it, and accidentally forgot to
turn it back on.
Hit record, but we didn't get too far in. I saw Steven staring over there and was like...
Because I was looking and I was like, I don't think I can see the red line.
I'm like, where's the red line, Steven?
And then I'm like, wait, I didn't restart. Luckily, we were only like 3 minutes in.
Right, but we talked about this before the show.
I know.
Because it kind of had a feeling like this week, like we want to make sure, like we've been out since a while and we want to double check. Anyway, this is going to be a long show, and I think Steven over there, Sutter, hey.
Howdy.
I thought he was just going to wave and not even talk into the phone, the microphone. I think he's going to run out of time cards because this is going to be a packed full week. I know that you have a lot of news. I've got a lot of flying solo. We have a lot of things to talk about this trip. Why don't we just jump into it? Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com. Welcome to RAWtalk episode number 72. That's right. We are up to 72. Last week's was number 71, where we had Mike Alabach, the tattooed bride, on there. And so far, I think people are really digging that interview.
That was a good interview.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing it. I think it was the right titles. We talk about titles. We talk about clickbait, even though I don't like the term clickbait. But in this day... All right, I'm going to go there. Somebody was commenting on that video about me using clickbait and misleading titles. And I can absolutely 190 million % tell you that I do not use misleading titles. Everything that's in a title that I choose, and I take, you know how hard I work on getting the right title,
or what I think
the right title should be. I make sure that whatever's in the title is actually in what we're doing.
You deliver.
Because I don't want to mislead people, because that's how you lose followers.
Exactly.
That's how you upset people. Now, when it comes to making a RAWtalk title, we have an hour and a half to a 2-hour long episode. The title's going to have to be about something.
Something in there, yeah.
But then I was thinking, have you ever read a newspaper? Have you ever looked at the front page of a magazine? You know, the cover? The headlines are clickbait. That's the point. They want you to buy it. They want you to click it. They want you to open it to read it. So I take a lot of pride in doing this right. And we'll talk about that, how everything's evolving. But anyway, I was talking to Mike after, because he's really happy with what's going on. I said, have you ever thought about changing your main website to Tattooed Brides? Instead of having everything go to Mike Alabach Photography, which is Allebach, because now I know how to spell it and say it. That's much harder to come up with. But Tattooed Brides is a brand that I think he should just beat the crap out of.
Definitely, because I feel like that's what people know him from. I mean, he was saying, he's like, Google my name or Google Tattooed Bride, and I went and Googled his name, and I went to Google Tattooed Bride, and obviously the first thing for Tattooed Bride came up, Mike Alabach Photography.
Exactly.
I think the other one, it took a couple until I actually got to his website.
Yeah, I think rebranding that would be the best thing to do. So you were in Louisiana.
I was.
Your brother got married.
Yep.
Hey, did you find a girl down there?
No.
There was no like bridesmaids?
There was a couple bridesmaids, but it was a really small wedding. So, yeah, nothing.
No bridesmaids?
No.
Hey, Sutter.
I wasn't really trying.
You been in any weddings yet?
I have only been to one wedding, and it was my sister's.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Hey, you have a sister?
I have 2 sisters.
You have 2 sisters?
And 2 brothers.
Wait a second. How old are these sisters?
I have a big family,
I'm one
too.
of 5.
I'm one of 6.
I'm one of 2. Like packages that come from UPS. How old's your sisters?
25 and 28.
Anyway, so you were in Louisiana.
I'm 25.
Thank you. Yeah, hook him up. So that went well?
Yeah, it went really well. Flight went well, no problems with that. It was a great time. We went Bourbon Street like almost every other night. Bourbon Street is like South Street, but on like steroids.
It's bad,
so
isn't it?
much better. It's great.
Oh, you liked it because you're an alcoholic.
Well, I'm not an alcoholic. I
You
like to party.
drinking. See, I don't. I went there. Adam and I walked down
You
there.
would
We're
hate
like,
it.
we're like, we don't like this.
Yeah, I mean, I was with my family, so I wasn't like going raging or anything.
Yeah, you had a nice group.
But yeah, and they have really cool. Like the one bar we went to is considered one of the oldest bars in America. Crap, I forget the name of it. It's some French name because it was when the French owned the French Quarters, obviously.
So you had no problem flying. I flew out on Monday from Philly to Atlanta. Short flight, but I watched Shark Tank, which was great because there were a bunch of channels to watch. And I landed there. We chose to go through Atlanta instead of Detroit because Detroit has more issues with weather. But yeah, Atlanta was due for a storm. So we flew in, and I was landing around 11. and I was flying through a little bit of snow when we landed, but it was flurries. It was nothing that we wouldn't see. We would see that and be like, this is nothing. So my flight was going to be 12:30 out of Atlanta. So we're on the plane. We boarded the plane. It's 12:30. We need to de-ice, I guess, because there must be ice forming on the wings, which I don't know why it was, because it wasn't that bad. And then basically, Atlanta's not known for their cold weather, so they don't have the ability to de-ice very well. And it's funny because I was talking about this on the website or on Facebook, and people are like, I can sense a rant coming, but more on that in a minute. Basically, we'll keep this short because we got to get going. I was on the plane at 12:30. 3.5 hours later, we're still on the plane and not taking off. We needed to de-ice, so like 2 hours into the waiting our turn in line to de-ice, they should have taken our plane first because it was more important than the local commuter, but they didn't. We started a de-icing process. They only had one truck doing it instead of two because it was one of the larger planes out there, 767. So by the time they finished de-icing us 40 minutes later, they had to start back over again because more ice started to form. By the time that happened, we're over 3 hours. There's a law now when you fly that says if you're on a plane for 3 hours on the tarmac, they have to go back because you can't be held captive in the plane. So I think some guy was complaining in the back. And just when we were done de-icing the second time, they took us back to the gate. So when they took us back to the gate after 3+ hours, the pilots could no longer fly anymore because they were out of flight time for the day. Because once the door closes, it's considered flight time. So now we didn't have pilots. We all had to get off the plane. Then they told us in like 40 minutes, we'll have new pilots for you. We're like, where the hell are you going to find new pilots? 2.5 hours later, we get onto the plane again because they had new pilots come in, and they have to do their due diligence. They have to do a walk around. They have to make sure the plane is safe to fly. So we get on the plane around 6 for our 12:30 flight. Then they tell us by 7, we should be de-icing. So at 6:30, they said it's not going to happen at 7. They pushed it to 8.
Man, that's a long time.
Then they pushed it from 8 till 9. And then people could get off the plane and walk around, and then blah. It was just a bunch of crap. And then around 10, or the process started around 9, was we closed the door, we got ready to go to de-ice. That took an hour to get to the de-icing because other planes were there. We started de-icing around 10. By the time we were done de-icing, it's almost 11. We took off around 11:30.
And you only had
it already
to go
stopped snowing.
to
No,
LA
it was 4.5
from there,
hours
right?
from there.
Oh,
Still 4 hours and 40
you went down
minutes.
to Atlanta then there.
So we took off at 11:30. I didn't get into LA until midnight. It was a long ass time of sitting on the plane, talking to people in the area before you get onto the plane. It was tough. And I'm not going to sit here and rant on it because it's one of those circumstances that is out of most people's control. You have no control over the weather. You have no control over any of this stuff. So you have to stay calm because if you don't, it makes no sense to flip out.
Yeah.
You have to be nice and cordial to everybody on the plane. You have to be nice and understanding to the flight attendants who are in the same situation as you. And I have to say that they were very, very helpful. They did everything they could with what they knew. They were still smiling. They weren't happy, but nobody was happy.
Yeah.
But they didn't take it out on us, and we didn't take it out on them, and it was very cordial.
There wasn't that one person that like flipped out?
No, we didn't. Well, there was, but he left the plane after that 3 hours. He left.
Oh, really?
Like not to get back on the plane.
Oh, wow.
So the pilot came around the plane to answer any questions, and he said he'd be a punching bag. But he was great, and there was no reason to be a punching bag because it's not their fault.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. So we ended up landing in L.A. Everything was fine. I'll chalk it up to hopefully that's the only time that will ever happen. Knock on wood.
It's a long
survive
flight.
through a 12-hour delay, literally with 7 hours on a plane. Anyway, before we get into everything else, Steven, why don't we talk about Rode microphones real quick? Just so that I can read their plug and get it out of the way. They're still doing, let's see, our friends at Rode Mics. They want me to read it word for word. Word for word. But it's good because it's good
very
words.
specific.
Our friends at Rode Mics have let me know that they're gearing up for a huge short film. We've talked about this already. Short film competition that is kicking off at the end of February. Along with some of their industry friends such as Adobe, Zeiss, Lenses, Blackmagic Cameras, GoPro, RedRock, Micro, and many more, they've put together some killer prize packs that total over $50,000 in filmmaking gear. There will be a major announcement next month. I think that's in February, I don't know. But like their Facebook page. So please like their Facebook page, follow them on Twitter, and make sure you don't miss out on your opportunity to be in a chance to win. Now, like I've said many weeks before, if somebody's giving you an opportunity, it doesn't cost you anything. Because, photo contests that they tell you have to pay, like PDN, that they want you to send. You ever enter any contest, Steven?
I've entered some, but none that I had to pay for.
Like PDN, the Photo Plus one. They want you to pay $35 a photo. Screw you. Screw you. No, what?
Wasn't that the one that like 10,000 people could enter or something like
that?
No,
a lot of that was a different one.
Okay.
But I think that any photo contest that wants you to pay to enter, you should not enter. They have sponsors for a reason.
Yep.
That's why I sat here and read a Rode plug. Why? Because this is a free podcast.
That's what makes it free.
Rode helps us keep it free by being a sponsor. So that's why I read it. That's why I ask you to support them. But that's not it. We like their quality beyond first and foremost.
Yeah,
but
that's exactly what
if a photo contest is asking you for money, don't do it. I think that's bullshit that PDN does that. And I hope they hear this and I hope they hate me because of it, because that's just money grab. You have sponsors for a reason. Anyway, this is free. Take the opportunity to put yourself out there. I don't care if you just got your first camera or you've had it for a long time and you're an expert. You could win because you never know who's judging.
Yeah.
And you never know what your create could tug at the heartstrings of somebody. So definitely enter for a chance to win that $50,000. Like Sutter over here should enter. Is that it? You don't even take the, I led you this in radio, which I've never gone to radio school, but I figured that when I say Sutter and I leave it open and I stop talking, that's your chance to be saying yes, I think that would be a great opportunity, Jared.
Yeah, I think that would be a great opportunity, Jared.
All right, now on to photo news. Steven, let's get into photo news because we have a ton of stuff to talk about.
We do. We got like 14 stories today or something, which is
well. Remember last week we didn't have photo news.
I tried to catch up from the last week, so about a week and a half prior, and hopefully I didn't miss anything. But I'm sure I probably missed a couple of stories here and there. So don't kill me if I missed one of your stories or something like that. Nikon rumors kicking it off. They're reporting that the company is replacing D600s with D610s to anyone who sends their cameras in for repair, and they're doing it for free of charge, with the exception of a couple French users apparently. Now,
that's because they're French.
Prior to the release of the D610, Nikon was just replacing the shutter mechanism, and now they're actually replacing the entire camera, is what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. I don't have verification of this. I forgot to ask my guy at Nikon.
Well, Nikon responded now to DP Review when they asked for a comment, and they said the following statement: Nikon Incorporated is committed to serving the needs of our customers. All of our customer service inquiries are handled on a case-by-case basis. So,
which is a good response.
It is. It doesn't really give you anything, but it kind of...
What it says is if you put up enough fight and you say that I've done this numerous times, if this is a fact that they are replacing it, it's about time. Like, you know that I get pissed off at Nikon. The D7000 focus is a joke. A joke. I mean, that focus system is so atrocious, and I'm sorry for anybody that has that camera, but you know what I'm talking about. The point where you have the focus point on the person's eye, and then when you look at the image in the camera after you took it, it shows you that that's where the focus point is, yet it's focused 10 feet behind.
Really?
The back focusing issue is atrocious in that camera. And I've known it since I had that camera at South by Southwest.
What about the D7100? Is that
one I believe is much better.
Yeah.
I don't think that has the same issues. I've found some of the issues in my D4. I had a major issue with that before I sent it in to be repaired and have the lenses tweaked. So, like I've said this to Nikon, you know that I had, when I was in LA this week, there were times where I was focused on the eye and somehow it's missing and it's on the hand, and it shouldn't be. Majority of the shots, once I got them in the computer, were perfectly fine. But then I did this whole shoot with a girl that I was staying with my buddy Danny and Mary. She's there. She's the paleo chef. You can see the photo on Instagram of all of us. We went out one night. I was doing photos of her and in beautiful light, and it was missing.
Really?
Like it was on her lips instead of her eyes.
Plenty of contrast.
And she didn't move. So I don't understand it, because with Modest when I was shooting, I could have I had some of the sharpest images I've ever seen. So anyway, I'm sticking with it. I'm not jumping ship. I'm not going to Canon yet at this point. I'm going to get the D4S. People keep asking that, and we'll talk about that more. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it for that. So,
that's
like,
good.
It looks like it's like 100%, satisfaction guarantee kind of thing. Like if you really put up a fight, they will give you one.
Yeah. So if you have
Who
a
knows?
D600 guys out there, I would contact them right away and try to have them fix it. Just be like, look, I've had recurring issues. I've cleaned it 1,000,000 times. I've sent it in twice. I'd like a replacement. And that's good if they're doing that. But they really need to get their shit together.
They do. Yeah, especially after this whole mishap. Now, Hasselblad has announced a new DSLR, which is basically a remake of Sony's A99 called the Hasselblad HV.
Wait.
Yeah,
Wait.
That was a good one.
Oh, yeah, this one.
The specs are nearly identical to the A99. The only major difference is that the price point is $11,500. Insane.
Hello?
I'd buy a car.
Hello, McFly?
Anybody in there?
It's just like, are you kidding me, Hasselblad? And I got into a tweeting thing with Zach Arias about this on Twitter.
Is he a Hasselblad guy?
No, because he said something about Hasselblad, and I tweeted back, and I was like, how about innovating instead of playing this weird game that you guys are doing? That's what I was saying to Hasselblad. Like, I was agreeing with him, like it was a joke, and I said, just try innovating and coming up with something different instead of repackaging their thing for $11,500.
Triple the price. Yeah.
So what Zach said, he's like, why don't you guys try to come down to a sub $5,000 or hit a $5,000 target for a medium format camera? Put your resources into that.
Yeah.
And then you could win that market.
They definitely won't, though, especially because they're putting out cameras like this that are...
Who's their CEO?
I don't know.
I want to know who their CEO is.
Probably like Diddy or someone.
No,
Super rich.
I just want to see who it is because they... See, this is to the CEO of Hasselblad. I call on you to contact me.
Open letter.
This is an open what?
An open letter
This isn't-
/ saying.
I'm calling you out. Can you please come on RAWtalk and explain the lunar debacle, the other debacle, and this debacle? What is your mindset in repackaging Sony freaking sensors and charging 3 times as much? Do you really think people are going to go ahead and buy this because they want to spend a lot more money when they could just buy the freaking Sony? Are you kidding me? We'll have a nice conversation.
And the best part is that the press release says it's a brand new elite camera pointed at amateur photo enthusiasts who demand the ultimate in both style and performance. That's like someone saying who's just get into photography is going to spend nearly $12,000. That's ridiculous.
It's redonkulous.
Yeah, they're not even going to spend barely $1,000.
All right, let's not spend any more time on these people.
GoPro, they released even more footage of Felix Baumgartner's space jump, his epic space jump. They had 7 Hero 2 cameras documenting his descent to Earth. So there's
disappointment.
There's new footage. There's really cool angles and everything. It's just surprising that GoPro had that kind of access.
Yeah,
How big they're getting.
No, it's pretty amazing that they take that thing to space and then it worked out very well. The footage is just fantastic watching Felix Baumgartner do that. It's amazing that their cameras do what they do. And I was also reading an article about somebody who's hating their GoPros right now. And I kind of agree. The guy was talking about the Hero 3 coming out too soon. And then 6 months later, they replaced it with the 3 Plus. And there's so many glitches that we know that we had when I first started using this where...
The Wi-Fi alone.
Well, the Wi-Fi wasn't... It didn't actually launch with the Wi-Fi. And then I had that issue with the battery, and I still have it, where if the camera's not on and you plug it in to charge, then the red light goes on, but then the warning light on the back stays on too, which means it's not charging. But if you think it is, so basically you have to turn it on, plug it in, and then it starts to charge. And then I turn it off, and then it continues its charge fully. So I figured out that quirk. There's just some quirks around that camera that
doesn't make sense.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But they've won the market.
Yeah.
They've done a fantastic job that every celebrity, every motocross, every extreme athlete is out there using them. So that's why they've killed the market. And it's still... I mean, the footage, when you see the best footage of it with underwater, it's amazing.
When you edit it correctly and really
it's all about editing.
It's just like an iPhone. You make an iPhone video. If you know how to edit it right, it looks fine.
See, that's the thing that most people don't understand about GoPro or video in general, which we're going to talk about coming up, that it's not, shooting is very, very important, but having the mindset for what to do with editing is just as strong, especially in the GoPro. You don't buy a GoPro unless you have somebody who can edit it for you or you know how to edit it.
Well, it's like your guy did that one video for you, right? When you went to Aruba, yeah. That video looked great.
Yeah, talk about clickbait. Yeah. I used the thumbnail of a girl's ass in a bikini that was bright pink, and yeah.
Nice.
I mean, that was for a reason. It was in the video.
Yeah.
And yes, I knew what I was doing there. I knew that it got 250,000 views in like 4 days.
It's insane.
So
sex sells, man.
Yeah, of course. But it's not the type of viewers that you want. Like, people need to understand that in marketing and stuff like that. There's people out there that do nude photography and they put up thumbnails about like naked women. Don't laugh at me. There's, basically when you add more subscribers that click, men are going to click like,
It's hard to say.
I'm trying to be careful here. There's there's multiple people. Just in general, if you're gonna do videos and you put up a naked woman, or you're a woman with fake boobs, or you're any of this in any type of video, whether it's technology, photos, anything, there's plenty of tech people out there. There's Naked News we saw on AVN, right?
Oh, we did.
So literally they're naked with painted on, no, they just are naked and they do the naked adult industry news. That stuff gets clicked. But if you're in an industry like music or photography and you're trying to teach people and you're getting people that have no interest in that, but they just want to see naked people, those are, to me, the wrong subscribers to go after. Like, I want photographers to click on the videos, because those are the people that are going to subscribe and be better subscribers.
Yeah, you don't want just random
in business,
people.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
So it's like saying that you have a restaurant and you're billing it as a strip club, but it's really not. So you get that clientele to come in. They'll come in once, but then they're going to disappear because they don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a good analogy.
No, that is a good analogy. It makes sense.
All right, next story.
And then just finishing up with that one, there was a similar video they released the anniversary, the first year, that had a couple of the angles, but this is a complete GoPro shot video, so this is different than that one. Just want to clarify that. And then speaking of space, photographer John Flagg used a weather balloon to shoot the Grand Canyon from the edge of space. He calls it a cross between science and art. So he teamed up with National Geographic and released a behind-the-scenes video of how he put the contraption together, talking about the build, launch, tracking, and the whole aftermath. And the balloon lasted 8 hours until it exploded and covered 300 miles.
Do you want to talk about the cameras he used? Yeah,
that's what I'm going to bring up right now, actually. In the payload, he had a GoPro Hero 3 Plus Black, Canon PowerShot SX260HS, which I personally hate that camera, 2 Canon PowerShot A4000 ISs, and a Pentax K01 with a 28mm SMC manual focus lens set for 10-second intervals.
See, my thing is, if you're going to do this,
do it with something
Do
good.
it with better cameras.
Yes.
But then in his defense, I don't know that the weight restrictions, maybe there are weight restrictions.
I mean, think about that. That's 4 or 5 cameras. Even that's still a decent amount.
It is, but Steven, you put a balloon into space.
Yes, I did.
How much weight can that thing carry?
It depends, because you can get a balloon big enough to do anything. Like Felix had a enormous balloon.
Yeah.
But there are restrictions by the FAA based on the size of the balloon and the weight that you have to carry for it. So some things you can do recreational and you don't need anything behind it, and other things you have to get cleared to launch by the FAA.
So maybe if you're launching a DSLR, you need it. But what'd you think of the images?
The images looked good. I mean, I didn't think they looked amazing.
Because they didn't look...
I don't even think half of these have the capability to shoot RAW. First of all. And then the other thing is, now, in his defense, he did say that the first time he tried this a couple months back, it failed and he lost everything or something. So
yeah, like we're looking at all sides, which is good. We're not just sitting here and bashing the guy without knowing the information. That's why I asked Steven about that. And yeah, it would be interesting to see if you can put up a DSLR into space and have it come down and do it.
And it's not like he was just trying to save money, because all the components together cost him about $1,700 in the end. But National Geographic backed him on this, so I'm pretty sure they paid.
That was
obviously
cool. It was still cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool thing.
It's just cool because you have to think outside the box or outside of the world, and he did. He figured it out.
I didn't realize weather balloons last that long until they pop. 8 hours.
It really depends on the ascent rate, because the faster it goes. Don't laugh at me. I did a whole project.
I'm just smiling because you know what you're talking about. That's a good thing. That's why I threw it. That's why I was pointing at you while he was talking. I was preparing that I was coming to you next. That's radio speak, because I've never been on the radio before. To me, it's common sense.
Natural, yeah. That's really what it is, yeah.
Yeah, but the balloon will pop once it hits a certain altitude. So if the ascent rate is really slow, it'll last longer before it gets to its burst
is it
altitude.
Slower based on the weight?
Based on weight or
how much?
It usually is weight to the balloon comparison.
Interesting. I don't know. I know this guy's like apparently the weather balloon guy that does all these shoots and stuff. So moving on, a new behind the scenes video from Facebook shows how Brandon Stanton, the man behind Humans of New York series got started.
Really?
Yeah. So with 2.8 million likes on Facebook, it's one of Facebook's most successful pages, his. So they chose him as one of the 10 stories that they would use for their 10th anniversary that just passed this past week.
Wow.
Really interesting. He opens up pretty much about how he started the project with little to no money, and basically how Facebook is what got him all the exposure. And it just shows him walking around New York doing what he does best, taking pictures of just regular human beings. And it showed that he just, went to New York on just for the hell of it with, 2 suitcases, no money, nothing. And this project just blew up via Facebook.
So I'm going to interrupt you because this is one of the topics I wanted to talk about today. And it seems like the right time. And it's the changing face of Facebook. Because a lot has happened.
Oh, yeah.
In the past month and a half to 2 months. I mean, F-Stoppers put out a video talking about it, how our posts are not getting as much reach as they used to.
Not at all.
On the business pages. And you've noticed this in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I've also noticed that some posts now are getting more traction, and I'm trying to figure out what works best. And a lot of this with Facebook is testing out.
It is, yeah. What
Facebook really wants you to do is pay money to boost your posts so that more people see it. This is the reason that I've diversified since day one. YouTube has a huge following, and a lot of my traffic comes from there. Facebook, huge following, over 95,000 likes now, and a ton of traffic came from there. A ton is still coming from there, but the email list, which some people have played off as not being needed anymore, I have 94,000 people on the email list right now, and
that still get a lot of traction.
Yeah, we get a great open rate. I mean, we get a great open rate, and that's how you get information out there. That's direct. For the most part, that not 10% of people, it's not going to be like, oh, we're only going to send this email to 10%. They're going to send it to 94,000 people. Mm-hmm. Whether 94,000 people open it or had their right email in there you don't control that. But when you get, if you get a third of people to open, that's considered a successful email. And a lot of actions to take, so that's great. But Facebook has really pulled back on their algorithm.
Oh, yeah.
And what is weird, Brandon put up a photo the other day of used Nikon gear for sale.
That.
And I shared it. And I looked today, it has 60,000, it reached 60,000.
Impressions? Really?
Yeah, and
that's a ton.
And I sat there and I'm like, well, so I tested it this morning, sharing something from Matisyahu's page.
Did that happen too?
Well, it's not as high. It's not as many. So I guess.
But is it more than your standard post?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Standard posts you look at could get, because I guess people can't really see this in public, but a really good amount of views is, let's say, 30,000 impressions, I think. With a lot of comments.
Of your likes.
Yeah, with a lot of comments and a lot of likes. Now, when you get more likes and more comments, the quicker you get them, then the algorithm starts to tell them to put that out further. But it's evolving and it's changing. And one thing they put out was Facebook Paper right now.
I got that. I downloaded it.
And I got it, and it's smart as hell. Mm-hmm. Now, what is that noise?
It sounds like a crane or something falling.
Oh, so Facebook Pages Paper.
Yeah.
It's not going to replace your news feed yet because it's harder to read than your news feed, which is what I noticed. But what it's good for is when you're looking to read articles, it really is laid out well. It's smart. It feels good. If anybody hasn't checked it out, it's only available for the
iOS 7, I think.
Is it only iPhone right now and Android?
I
don't think it's for. I know it's not for tablets yet, and I know you can only get it in the United States.
Yes.
As of right now. But I sat there, and there's an entertainment section. There's a photography section, which I need to figure out how to get the stories to show up in, because it's all based off of an algorithm. I saw some other digital photo schools articles were showing up in there, and you flip through it like a newspaper, and it's smart. So at some point they're going to open it up to advertising, which I'll advertise there, and they'll open it up so that people can save stories, because or be focusing on, I want to follow Frono's photo, so I want those stories to show up, or I want to follow Stanton from the Humans of New York. Mm-hmm. You'll be able to put that into your own basically newspaper thing. So it's smart. It's evolving. I mean, they have to evolve.
The other thing is too that I've realized is that the more I like a certain page's just posts in general, like Gizmodo, for example, I think I've liked maybe 2 of their posts the past week or so, and now all I see, half of my newsfeed is a Gizmodo post all the time.
Well, check to see if they're sponsored too.
No, they're not sponsored.
See, maybe that is
it's just nonstop. It's and then I haven't tested it out yet on another page, but since I've liked those 2 or 3 posts.
Well, do you get my posts or no?
I do see yours too, but I like yours as well. But theirs, though, in general, it's way more. It's half my news feed.
Yeah, and they put out a lot of content a day. Anyway,
maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
So it's one of those evolving things in business, because everything revolves around that, especially for the photographers. You have to figure out a solution around it. You can bitch and moan and complain about it, or you could pivot, because you always have to pivot. Always be pivoting. Always be ready to move and find a new way to do something better. And, they changed their algorithm. It's like Google changing their algorithm. When the Panda came out and they've got all these penguins, most people don't even know there's an algorithm behind it. But yeah, when that happens, your search traffic can tank. And my search traffic did get hit from that before. So that's just the nature of the beast. You have to find a way around it. Mm-hmm. And legal ways around it. We're not talking about doing... is it black hat? Is red hat? Which one's the worst? I don't know. There's
idea.
a term in internet marketing that people do things shadily. I don't want to do anything shadily. I want to do it by the book and organically.
Yeah,
makes
sense.
Sorry. Back to photo news.
So next up we have the next iPhone camera is rumored to sport a 10 plus megapixel sensor, an f1.8 aperture, and a better infrared filter. They're also saying that the camera will feature some sort of optical image stabilization system as well. Now again, take it with a grain of salt. It's a rumor. I don't know if it's definitely going to be in iPhone 6. But we'll see.
I take a lot of Apple rumors that come out to be bullshit.
Well, it's from Mac rumors, I think.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I don't know how spot on they are.
These guys throw out... When it comes to the iPhone, nobody's ever really right. Rarely. It's not like Nikon rumors that 6 hours before Nikon announces something has all the specs.
Or when Gizmodo gets an iPhone 4 6 months ahead of time.
Right. That was different. But in this case, yeah, they're going to change it. And I also saw something like they're going to have attachments. If they come out with their own branded, like they should buy Oleo
the 3-lens ones or
They
whatever.
should buy one of those companies or create their own, and they'll put the other ones out of business real damn quick.
And they'll also probably charge, double what everyone else is charging right now, because Apple usually does.
Or maybe they'll just make it $30 a lens, and maybe they'll just have a lens kit for $100 that comes with 4 lenses.
I could see that.
Apple is evolving as a photography company.
Yeah.
More people take pictures with the iPhone a day than anything else. It's just one of those things. So for them not to pivot or go in that direction where they revolutionize the music industry, they've revolutionized the photo industry as well. You can't say that they haven't at this point. So look for them to keep evolving the camera, because that is what's in everybody's pocket.
It really is.
That is what people reach for, and that's why the point and shoot industry is dead.
Yeah. Not dying, it's dead.
Oh, it's absolutely flat out dead.
Yeah. I don't even remember last time I used a point and shoot, actually, now that I think of it, besides my iPhone. So moving on, I guess, speaking of Apple, I was going to save this story more toward the end, but since we're on that topic, Apple is celebrating 30 years of Macintosh with a new tribute video shot entirely on iPhones. It was shot in one day with various crews all around the world that ended up with like 70 hours of footage, and it only ended up being a 90-second video with that much footage. Now, these aren't your typical shots either. They're dolly-mounted iPhones on jibs, stabilizers. It looks very well shot. And again, going back to what we said earlier, it's all about how you put the shot together and edit it versus the camera you're using or the equipment really that you have. You know? So you can make anything look really good these days. And then we have, let me see if I can get back to where we were.
Well, it's an understanding the fundamentals of video.
It is.
There's a whole different set of fundamentals that go into video than go into photography. So if you have that stuff down, it doesn't matter what device you are capturing with, you can capture good stuff.
Yeah. So there's this is one of my favorites. There's a new awesome retro video showcasing what Instagram would have been like if it was invented in the 80s.
Yeah.
All you'll need is a camera with a color roll, a home computer, and a genuine Instagram form. Now, basically, they're saying that you shoot film, you send it out, and they send it back in digital form, either on a floppy disk or a cassette tape. It's like this parody video, obviously. Looks like it was like a VHS tape kind of thing.
Just think
funny.
if it was Apple, if you had an Apple IIe or
Exactly.
a Mac. I mean, I had the
Instagram
Apple IIe
style.
back in the day. Why didn't I have a Mac? What I don't understand is my dad bought a computer in the 80s. This was probably 84. No, it had to be. It was after 84 because I remember it.
84 is when Apple
came out with the Mac. Why did they buy an Apple IIe? He must have gotten talked in. I know he got talked into it because like a neighbor had it and they thought it would revolutionize it. And we had all these floppy disks. And the funny thing is, you remember 5 1/4 floppy disks?
Yes.
I don't know what they held, but we used to have games like Sammy Lightfoot, which was this game. This girl Sammy was the character, and you had to bounce around, and it was awesome. Whatever. Sammy, and there was Lode Runner. Lode Runner was great. That's with the Lode Runner's awesome. Look up Lode Runner. Lode Runner's awesome. And then I had the basketball game. Genesis made it, I believe, was Larry Bird versus Julius Erving. So it's Dr. J from Philly, and it was Bird. So that was a fun game. So there were a lot of different games, but I remember going through those discs and seeing one that said soft porn. Still have no idea what was on that. I should probably ask my dad. Was this digital porn back then? I mean, the disc
porn
said soft porn on it, so I don't know what that meant.
Maybe it was software porn or something.
But you had to be a programmer with the Apple IIe.
Ooh, this program looks really sexy.
I don't know, but you had to do like open barrel, run. You had to know these programs. So we as kids learned how to do this stuff. Anyway, I digress.
But yeah, this video is really cool. It's just a funny parody. And at the end of the video, even better, they're like, and then we have another new feature coming out in 1984, Google Glass. And it's like a picture of a giant phone with like a briefcase and stuff. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Actually, we're going to not say that one. 50 rolls of undeveloped film was discovered in an attic that housed rare photos of World War I. A man named Peter Barry Ottaway was cleaning out his grandfather's attic where he found a huge box of film. He could get about only 40 usable prints, though, out of the 50 rolls in the end. So not too much pictures actually came out, but the photos were taken with a Kodak Brownie box camera, which was used to document his grandfather's World War I service in France and Belgium. It includes photos of ruins, servicemen, and a whole bunch more. So just really interesting stuff. I mean, the focus obviously wasn't great, and they weren't the best for being housed in an attic for, almost a century. But yeah, still some really cool stuff. I can't believe they actually survived.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't have much.
That's all you got?
I'm not going to digress off of this story.
So there's a new Kickstarter campaign for a new app called Flag that will print your pictures for free. Speaking of photos, they get away with doing it for free because there's an ad on the back of the print where normally just be blank or have like the metadata or something like that. So you can print up to 20 photos a month free of charge if this campaign actually goes through with it. You can also print a profile photo, caption, EXIF info, and location data on the back next to the ad. They also offer postcards, enlargements, and more for an extra charge if you want. Now, they have about 5 days to go at the time of this recording, with 88,000 funded of their goal, which is $100,000. So we'll see if this actually goes through. I think it will at this point. By the time this actually comes out, this RAWtalk, it should be already finished. So
it's interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I don't know if it can last that long.
No, I mean, ad-based things, it's like, and only how successful are the ads?
Well, and 20 photos a month. I mean, I take 20 photos a day with my iPhone or whatever it is, so we'll see how that goes. Moving on, we have a fisherman found a camera at the bottom of Lake Tahoe that's been sitting there for 3 years. The shocking news is that the SD card that was in it was still intact and housed about 1,000 pictures that dated back 5 years.
Meaning that person never, ever backed up their photos?
Never backed it up. It's like my mom or something. She has like pictures from like 6 years ago still on the same card. Like she thinks it's like film. You can't like delete them or anything or you'll lose them. So the owner was found too after the fisherman posted the photos to Facebook, another Facebook story, and the lacrosse team in the photos apparently helped point out who the camera belonged to. Now, it was a waterproof camera, but it was about 200 feet deep in Lake Tahoe for 3 years. So, yeah, it survived. I mean, I had an SD card that I put in the washer one time a couple years back, and it survived.
The SD cards can survive that.
And I don't use it, but I think I threw it out right after because I was like, I'm never going to use this again. And it was like a 1 gig card. Adobe has once again extended its Photoshop photography program. This is like the 5th time they did it.
I'm ready for it because now this time I'm gonna take them up on their $9.99 offer.
They're waiting this entire time. When's Jared Polin? We gotta keep extending it.
Well, I'm waiting to hook up the new iMac, and then I'm gonna be like, all right, I'll do the $9.99 a month.
Yeah,
I was just pissed off that I upgraded my my Lightroom 5, and spent the money on there when I could have spent that money and gotten 7 or 8 months. But whatever.
But I still think you got a cheaper deal doing that versus, because how often do you use Photoshop?
I rarely use Photoshop. But
Behance.
It's going to be, I don't even know what Behance is still. And it's going to be much better, though, on the new iMac.
So it's been extended to March 31st. I think you just said that. But the bundle still remains, again, $9.99 a month on the annual basis. It's Photoshop CC, Lightroom 5, Behance Pro Suite, which we have no idea what it is, and 20 gigs of online storage. Yeah, if anyone wants to point out what the hell Behance
does. I think they've done it because we've said this about 7 times. We don't know what Behance is. Yeah, people have said what it is.
Does anyone actually use it? That's what I wonder.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I feel like this is just a way for them to like get that software out there.
Sure.
So Los Angeles is changing night photography by undergoing the world's largest LED streetlight retrofit, where they're replacing all their old school yellow casting streetlights with new LED lights. Los Angeles Bureau of Street Lighting, which I didn't think existed, but apparently it does.
LBSL.
LABSL, I guess. I don't know. They released before and after photos showing the major differences. You know, obviously one being very yellow, one being perfectly white balanced.
Or you could just change your freaking white balance to make it more yellow.
Now you could, but at the same time, you're going to be losing a lot of color and it's going to be a lot of shifting going on. But they say that this will soon be coming to all major cities too in the U.S.
Well, Philly has it already.
Do they?
Well, let me tell you about Philly. They save $1 million a year by going to LEDs versus the old style bulbs. The only difference is that people have complained in the winter that you can't see the light because what happens is the LEDs aren't warm, they're not hot, they don't melt the snow out of the light.
So you're right.
But the $1 million savings in a state or in a city where they're having major issues with money,
Use it for plowing?
I think you will take the $1 million savings and deal with the other thing for as often as it snows in a year.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Especially this year, we've had some terrible.
Well, we've had some terrible snow, but still, saving $1 million, well worth it.
Definitely.
Because that creates how many jobs? That's going to be like 100 jobs.
Oh yeah. And we only have one more story, which is Rode. They have a new discrete lavalier mounting system. It's called the invisilav. It's designed to aid the concealing of lav mics. So basically, instead of having that black lav mic right here, you now have it inside your shirt.
Yeah, because I always use it on the outside.
Exactly.
Because I want it there.
Yeah, well, because just audio-wise, it's going to sound a lot better. But they have it a little sticky system that basically sticks to your body or the fabric itself, and you put the lav inside there, and it's naturally invisible. So, and they actually have the video that they put this out showcasing it. They use the lav mic in there, and the guy's like, "Look, I'm using it now," and hits it, and it sounds really good. The quality sounds great.
Yeah, your shirt becomes the windscreen.
Exactly.
And I would love on the video shoots that we've done, they usually tape it inside and they have to retape it a bunch of times. So I didn't even know this was existent. I just emailed the guy at Rode. I'm like, why didn't you tell me about this?
Yeah, and I think they're fairly expensive too. They come in like 3 or 6 packs.
Expensive or inexpensive?
Inexpensive. Did I say expensive?
Yes, you did.
Fairly inexpensive. 3 or 6 pack bundles, something along those lines. It's all up on the website. You can check all that out.
All right.
And that's it.
All right, a short photo news segment this week.
Yeah.
All right, so at the time that this video is coming out, the audio for RAWtalk's coming out on Monday, we are starting filming of the next video guide. And let me just read what I wrote here. The next video guide. Some people already know what the next video guide is, but I'll tell everybody what we are starting filming on, and it is the Phronos Photo Guide to DSLR, and in parentheses, Micro Four Thirds, mirrorless cameras, video. So, I wanted to add those because those things are capable of capturing video.
Especially these days.
Yeah, and to counter somebody made a comment that I don't want to learn video from Jared. He's not a professional in video. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Let me point to the Flash video, and as many of you know that I've always said that I'm not a huge Flash fan, and I'm not the best guy when it comes to understanding Flash photography, but we put out an extremely amazing product because I brought in somebody who is.
Yeah.
And that's what good teachers do. Good teachers bring out people who are better than them at at certain aspects of their whatever it is, and you learn from them because you ask the questions, and the questions that I ask tend to be pretty good, that are questions that a lot of people are going to have that they can now answer and learn from. So I am doing the same exact thing with video. I'm bringing in Todd Wolf, who filmed and directed the first 2 guides, the very first one and the Flash guide. So if anybody's watched the Flash guide and saw the production value and the quality that we've captured there, Todd not only did the editing, but he did the shooting as well. I asked him to be the expert on this one, and I'm going to be the teacher. I'm going to ask him the questions. We're going to do actual video shoots. We're going to demonstrate the technological aspect of it, and then we have video shoots set up. So it's also possible that we're going to create a editing guide as well for anybody that would be interested in that. But that's what we're doing. We are going to town on that because as photographers, if you can add into your staple of offerings videography, you're going to make more money. Speaking of more money, Steven Sutter. You've been shooting houses, right?
Yes.
And you just added the ability to shoot video, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
How much money has that added to your bottom line on a typical shoot?
I haven't started yet shooting video, but for a bigger house, it'll probably add... Do you want like an exact number?
You just said probably add, so just make it up.
It would add maybe an extra $200 per shoot.
And you're a young guy, you're 18.
Yeah.
So
pretty solid paycheck.
That's
right
not
there.
bad to add an extra $200 on top of another $225 or $200 some dollars to shoot the house. You know, if you can make an extra $200 to go out and just spend more time. He has a glide cam now. I used to do this in houses. I started to do it where I would do a walkthrough, and then I would edit it together to a song, and it was like a 2-minute walkthrough. And what he can do is he can interview the person. They can talk about the house, and while he's going around, he can cut over it and show the house walkthroughs. So to have the ability to do stuff like that, that's not going to be one of the examples we're doing, but everything that you're going to learn in here is like learning the fundamentals of photography again. Not learning fundamentals. Like that, like the first guide, we're going to hit the basics, but we're going to get you the understanding of the fundamentals first, and then you're going to see us put it into use. And the key thing here that we are hammering home is that these are things that you can do as a one-man band.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that we are doing in this video guide is something that you can do yourself. Like when I started to shoot video, I mean, I don't need to sales pitch this thing, but that's the whole point, is it's something that you can accomplish on your own, from setting up the lights to understanding how to do audio, to understanding what the difference between 24 frames, 30 frames, 60 frames a second is, the reason why you use one or the other, the understanding of why we use 50th of a second or half your frame rate versus using whatever shutter speed you want to use. We're going to show you all of these examples so you visually see it, and then we're going through how we produce these things. I'm excited for this guide because I think that it's the evolution of this industry. It's not just photography. Understanding photography gives you a leg up when it comes to videography, but there are fundamental things that I personally didn't know. Like we came out here and we do this 180 rule. That's not something I ever encountered myself until we did it and you explained to me the proper way of doing it. Yeah, but it made sense. But that's the point. You learn, and that's what my job is talk to the expert, Todd Wolf. And just like we did with Adam Lerner in the Flash Guide, same thing's going to happen. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have a ton of great information. And this guy, it may be longer than 3 hours this time, but it's
And you might even have some teasers leading up to it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I want to do the behind the scenes.
I'm going to be shooting some behind the
You're
scenes.
going to do
stuff.
behind the scenes. Sutter's going to. I want to do behind the scenes stuff, and
That'll
we may
be cool.
just release it just as that.
Because then they can even learn off of that and just see what goes into shooting of that guy.
Oh yeah, because we have to do all this behind the scenes setup.
Yeah, you
because
can ask what you're using and all that kind of stuff.
not only are we doing a one-man band thing shooting the subject, but we have a whole crew behind us that has to light us.
It's like a video in a video.
It's a video in a video.
It's crazy.
Anyway.
Mind blown.
Anyway, so it's that's that. I'm excited for that. If you're excited for that, just hashtag it. We haven't done hashtags in a while. Hashtag like
we
Fro
haven't.
Video Guide, that you're excited for it, and if you think that's something that you'd look for. No price point yet because we don't know how long it's going to be, and we're thinking there's going to be an editing guide as well because we've talked about how important that is. And it's not going to be your typical freaking editing guide, where this is your line and this is where you do this. It's going to be program agnostic. So it's not going to sit here and say, this is Final Cut only, this is Premiere only, this is iMovie. They all work the same. It's just a matter of... It's the fundamentals of timelines, understanding when the proper
cut.
time to cut is, understanding the audio, where to put that, how to do this, how to do that.
Syncing and...
It's stuff, again, Todd's the expert, and we're going to learn a ton because I'm going to rip that information right out of him.
Todd's great too, yeah.
So there we go. We got that. Now we're going to move into talking about... there's more to talk. Oh, my God.
We haven't even started.
I haven't even really started the show yet.
No. I think we're already, like an hour in?
You know what
About
we technically...
50 minutes.
Do you know what we
God.
technically could do, Steven?
What, split it?
We could split it because I'm filming all next week, and this could give us the ability to have one ready for next week. So we'll determine that later.
Yeah.
We'll determine
so this
depending.
episode
Like
could be
if this
split.
goes 2 hours or more, I mean, I don't think we can really cram in 2 hours. I mean, we can. Those things will record for what? 2 hours?
The DSLRs?
Yeah.
You can record for, 32 gigs we have in there, so probably a little more than that.
All right, we're chewing up time. I think
Yeah.
it was 2 hours and 11 minutes. Anyway, when I was getting back off the plane landing in Philly, there was a guy who I saw had a tag on his bag with a number on it. A tag laminate. Now, I have one of those on my bag. What that signifies is that somebody's on tour with a band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, anytime you see a number, it's about this big. It's like a 3x5, and it has a number on it. That's just so that everybody in the band has a different number, and everybody in the crew has a different number, so that when they check their bags, they know that everybody in the band is going to start grabbing ones with numbers on it, and then that's how they keep track of how many bags people had.
Interesting.
Yeah, so this guy, I saw it. I'm like, so hey, you coming back from tour? And this was a guy. I'm like, what do you do on tour? He's like, I'm the lighting guy. I'm like, the guy that I love. I'm like, yeah, I got one on tag on my bag too, just so that I qualified myself.
For Modest or
no, this was just randomly coming back. He so happened to be coming back from Robin Thicke's tour. He's been out for 4 years with Robin Thicke.
Wow.
So he's been through the thick and thin with him.
I shot Robin Thicke a couple months ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he performs pretty well.
He puts on a show.
He does.
Yeah, so he just got done 4 years with him, but we were just talking, and I wanted to point this out as I saw the guy. I saw the tag, and I just started a conversation. I gave him a card. He's going out on the road next with, I believe, Todd Rundgren, and Todd Rundgren is a local Philly guy who's going out with Ringo Starr. So,
really, Ringo Starr.
If I get an opportunity to go out with Ringo Starr, who so happens to like photography as well, that gives an opportunity to get close to a Beatle. So I gave the guy a card, and he's like, "I'm going to send you an email." He hasn't done it yet, but at least I made the intro.
Yeah,
he knows I'm a photographer.
Made the
I established credibility by showing him that I got a tag too. And yeah, I toured with Perry Farrell. He's like, yeah. He's like, I toured with him in the 90s on that tour. I was like, awesome.
The good old days.
I'm like, that must have been crazy. He was like, yep. And I was like, that was, yeah. But see, right there, there's a thing behind, we coined called the velvet rope thing. When you're on the
velvet rope thing.
Well, the velvet rope. You know how most people are never past the velvet rope backstage.
Yeah.
We call that. When you know people that have never been backstage behind the velvet rope, when you see them, you watch their eyes and you see how excited they get. But when you're behind it, when you tour, if you've ever done it, it's like a fraternity. Everybody knows everybody, and you know who's faking it, and you know the real deal people. So by establishing my credibility and just having a conversation with this guy, it could possibly lead to something. Wouldn't that be something? He's like, we could have used you in Europe. I'm like, yeah, well, now you have my information. I'm in Philly, he lives in Horsham, and I was like, there we go.
Yeah.
If that leads to something, so be it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But that's how the connections are made, because all he needs to do is look up my work to know that it's the real deal stuff and that I am who I say I am.
And then you'll move on to Paul McCartney after that.
Well, look, that would be the most amazing
Beatle
thing ever, to be with a Beatle. There's only 2 left.
I know.
And we've been close. I've been close. You weren't there. To Bob Gruen, who was 1 degree separation from Yoko, and I
saw Paul McCartney live last year, and he was great. He was great.
I wish I would have seen that.
I haven't seen Ringo though.
So let's get to the show, Steven.
Let's start.
RAWtalk episode 72 right here.
50 some odd minutes in.
Squarespace. You saw their ad on Super Bowl?
I did.
How about them apples?
Yeah, that was great.
The funny thing, and anybody that wants again talk about plugging and all that stuff, I got tweets and I got Facebook messages. Hey, I was watching the Super Bowl and it was like, that's what Fro uses. Isn't that the point of plugging things organically, is that people realize it? And so that was great, because one guy's like, yeah, I told my wife that's what Fro uses.
I told my roommate. I was like, that's what we use.
That's the point. It's about brand awareness.
Yeah.
And so it's fantastic that they did that. Yes, they spent a ton of money for it, but they are doing well. So
I've been seeing their commercials everywhere now.
I see them in the taxi cabs around here.
Yeah, taxi cabs or just on TV in general.
But the great thing is they did get funding.
Nice.
They did, but they don't. The guy told me they make money. So they were an internet company that was actually in profits before they took money, which is great.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just started the rapid fire critiques for Squarespace. So please post that. Make a note. Post the first one.
Yeah. When you say it in here, then I do it. Yeah.
All right. Please do that. It's the first rapid fire critique of somebody's website, which I think people are digging because it's really good to get information. Like I say, I'm no expert at web design. I'm no designer, but I think I know what works right or what feels right, and I can just point out things that maybe people can learn from. So people did that. If you want to check out Squarespace, this is a plug right here. I'm plugging them right now. Plugging. You can get a 14-day free trial. No obligation. You don't have to give them credit card information to start. If you like it after 14 days and you want to sign up for a month or you want to sign up for a year, use code RAWtalk, and that will give you 10% off your first order. So you'll get 10% off the first month, or you could get 10% off the first year, bringing it down to like $84 for a year, which is unbelievable for having a website. Anyway, my time in LA. So thank you, Squarespace. That's the plug for them. I was in LA with Modest. What's it like to be on a shoot with us? What was cool is people asked, were you staying with him? Yeah, I did. I stayed at his house.
So you stayed in the bunk beds.
I was in the bunk beds. For anybody that followed my Instagram, you would see that I was sleeping. And everything good, Sutter?
Are they his kids' bunk beds?
The kids actually slept in his room that night so that I could have a bed.
How old are his kids?
I think there's a 7 or 8 year old and a 5 or 6 year old, and then there's a 3 year old.
Okay.
Menachem. Really good kids. Love the kids. They are fun, and they'll beat the crap out of you because they play hockey and they like ball tapping right now. They're into ball tapping. For anybody that doesn't know what it is, Google it. So, yeah, I got to stay at his house. Basically, how this job came about is Matis and I have a really good rapport. He likes the work that I do. When he comes into Philly, I hope he's going to stay with me, and we're going to do a RAWtalk just to talk to him.
That'd be great.
So that you can, like, I was thinking about this because he was when he does come in, I was thinking about, will I ask questions about me? And I think as a photographer, it's not just about me. You know, obviously the interview's about him, but I want to know things like, why did you say yes initially to allowing me all access to you back in December of 2011 or 12, whenever it was? Why did you say yes? Like, I asked him when I was away and I got the story, but I think that helps photographers learn. But obviously I don't want it to be all about me. I want it to be about him.
Yeah.
So I stayed at his place. I got a call from the manager, and they're like, we love what you do. Would you come out here, give us a price? Which is great because the initial stuff I did for him was nothing, free. So I gave him the price.
But
they
look,
paid for expenses.
End, right?
And I've done multiple jobs for them. Plus, I enjoy it. Basically, he and I we walked around many different places. We drove around places. We took pictures in different places. And it was cool when he and I just went off for a walk without management. And he and I just walked and talked. And I just think it would be awesome. Part of something I want to capture one day, if you fly around with us, is if I was laved up, and God, that road thing would be perfect to have under the shirt, so no longer on the outside.
Hidden, yeah.
What's that thing? Invisilav?
Invisilav.
God, now that makes sense. I want that. It's like Invisalign
for labs.
It's
braces.
Invisalign for braces. You ever had braces?
No.
All right, I don't want to go off
My
on a
dad has
tangent.
Invisalign.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. They work.
That's how he speaks like this.
And that's not a plug.
What's up, ladies? What's up?
What's up, ladies?
What's up, fine? Yeah, Sonny.
Thank you, youngin. So we were just walking around talking. And I love hanging out with artists because it's kind of like an interview and a photo shoot at the same time. So if he was mic'd up and I was mic'd up and we just had one camera following us along capturing all this, I think it would be pretty awesome. So the shoot went well. I'm going to talk about that moving on. Wait, I have it right here. I worried a lot. You know, I still worry. I wrote an article about this on the site.
When you're out with a client?
You know, you're out there shooting and you're not sure what you're getting. You're looking at a 3-inch screen. Is the focus right? Is the focus wrong? You're not looking at a final product. And I know as soon as I did worry. We were going around, I was getting photos of him and I thought they would be good, but I was shooting, I shot 600 and some photos the first day, which is basically filled 2 16 gig cards, which is a lot. But I wanted to get, I was going for things. I was going, and I shot 400 the next day and only 150 the third day, which I did some family shots. But when I got home and edited and I sat there, I finally felt a sense of relief after I went through and just starred the images I wanted to edit, because I sat there and I was like, I did it. I'm like, I got what I needed, and these are so much better than I expected. Like,
it's a great feeling, isn't it?
It is a great feeling because it's not the easiest thing to do. I like to do candid, so a lot of this stuff was posed and they felt candid. You saw them.
Yeah.
And they feel candid. Except for
candid.
the ones where he's leaning and he's posed.
Yeah.
But they need those. They need shots like that. So I felt the rush of relief when I got them onto the computer and I finally got the ones tweaked and I was like, wow, these are thick and contrasty and they're my style and these are images exactly what they were looking for. There's tight head shots, there's medium shots, there's full body shots, there's shots where he's looking, there's shots where he's not looking, and there's candids. And I was so happy. So I sent them the first I sent them completed edited files of the first go around because they needed them. And the text I got back was, holy shit. And that right there
says it all.
That was it.
Yeah.
So I was, yes, as a professional that's been down this road and worked with many photographers, I worry that if I did this shoot, I may never get a job from them again if they didn't like what I got.
Yeah.
Like, I always worry about that. Like, I'm not getting the best stuff in the world. I'm not happy. And I don't want to show them that I'm not happy on the shoot. Because sometimes I get ticked off. And it's not about who I'm shooting. It's about gear. If something's not working right, you got to force your way through it. And you can't show that you're having an issue.
At all.
You have to keep going. You have to keep shooting. You have to sometimes shoot more, even though you may already have it, just to keep it going.
Should be confident and shoot.
So we did, and it ended up coming out all right.
Now, did they ask for specific shots? or that they just said do your thing and here you go, here's him?
Well, the funny thing is we got on the phone before I left with the publicist, and I almost laughed at him, the publicist, because we were trying to get stuff like, what are you looking for? And she's like, we're looking for some tighter headshots, we're looking for some medium shots, and we're looking for some full body shots.
Can you do that?
And I sat there and I laughed, and I was like, all right, let me I'm like, let me calm myself and not say that is common sense.
Most broad answer
I was like,
ever.
yeah, I'm like, let me not be a dick here, even though now I'm talking about it publicly. But that's what I do. I was like, all right, I'm going to give you exactly what you're looking for. That makes sense. I'm going to get you some of the tight shots. I'm going to get you wide shots. I'm going to get you full body shots. I'm going to get you candid shots. And I'm going to give you a rundown of everything. I think you're going to be really happy. Honestly, we were looking for more input from them, but at least we got on the phone with them and whatever. Yes, they should be very happy with what we got. I mean, you saw the batch.
Oh yeah, I liked them a lot. I think it's the worst though when you ask them, what exactly are you looking for? What do you need? And they give you the broadest answer ever, and then you're like, crap, what am I gonna do? Like, I gotta figure this out. Like, I was on a couple band shoots, and they're just like, I don't know, do your thing. And it's like, really? You're not even gonna give me like any direction at all?
Well, that's what I try to pull. Like, I work with a bunch of. I got to stop saying like. I'm saying like too much. Acknowledging the fact that I'm saying like everybody, and don't say and like. Now I'm gonna go ahead and correct the rest of the show and do it properly. So, what were you just saying?
Just saying that basically
they don't give you any direction.
Yeah.
No, that one. So when they don't give you direction. I've had a lot of clients say, do your thing, which is great. I love just doing my thing.
That's usually what they do, yeah.
But I want to still know what you're looking for. I want to know a little bit what you have in mind, because then I don't want you to be disappointed at the end. So anyway, we got that. Shit.
But yeah, while you're figuring out what we're going to do next, there's one kid, he was like, I want to have something with graffiti in the background, just kind of that grungy angst to it. And that's all I needed. I just needed that. And then I went and we shot a bunch of areas.
So that's good sometimes.
Like abandoned building kind of style.
That's good.
Just a little hint.
What I told them because they wanted to shoot more walls. They wanted him in front of walls and him in front of things, which we ended up getting really good generic type things, which is good. They said, what about the graffiti wall? I said, no. We're not going to shoot in front of the graffiti wall, because what happens there is the focus becomes the context of the image becomes the graffiti wall and not the artist. So if it's a plain wall with a little bit of ruggedness, that's fine. But when it comes to graffiti, that's taking away from unless it's the artist who painted it.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't do that. And
I just vignetted the crap around it so you couldn't really see it too much.
So the shoot went well. Very happy with the results. It was great staying with Matis. Love staying at his place. It's just really awesome. LA's a weird place.
He sounds like a fun dude.
He's a great guy to hang out with. Kids are great. We get along extremely well. So that's why we work together. That's why he keeps calling. He's very happy with the work that I've done, and I'm very happy with working with him. It just feels great to get those calls and get paid to do work and have a great time doing it and do your thing. So one thing we took while we were out there was Uber. You know?
Yeah.
Uber is fantastic. And this is not a plug for Uber because they do not pay, but there actually is a way that I can make money and they can make money, and I'll tell you about that. But Uber is fantastic. Anybody who doesn't know what Uber is, you download it onto your phone. It's going to replace taxis because it's just easier to work. It's more expensive, but it's better.
It's way more expensive.
It's like 20 to 30% more expensive than a taxi. You can get a town car, you can get an SUV, or they have Uber X, which is less expensive, which is just normal people driving a car, which I don't want. So basically for a photo shoot, I've used it in New York, and I've used it now in LA with Matis. If you want to get around places in luxury or just in a better vehicle with an actual driver and easier to get your gear around and have them where you want them to be, you go onto the app, you hit what you want, you can see all the Ubers on the map where all the cars are, and it will say they'll be there in 2 minutes. So when you hit the button to get a car, it's all tied in through your credit card, so that's how you do it. You see who accepts the ride, who's going to come get you. You see their picture, their name, their phone number. They pick you up. You get into the car. Some of them give you water. It's just really easy because the cars are nice and big. You can put your gear into them, so it's so much better than trying to get a taxi that can take more people. And then when you're done, there's no tipping. They hit end ride on their iPhone or their Android device, and your credit card gets charged.
Yeah, or you can prepay too, can't you?
I don't know if you can prepay, but
if you tell them where your destination's going to be.
I don't really know. But if you want to try this out, there's an affiliate link on the page. An affiliate link, what an affiliate link means for anybody who doesn't understand it, it means if you use it, you're going to get something out of it this time, and I get something out of it. So I believe what they do is if you sign up for Uber through this link and use this code, after your first ride, you're going to get a $20 credit into your account, which is good, Uber credit. And if you get $20 credit, I get $20 credit.
Nice.
So I get something, you get something. It's free to sign up, but it costs money to use Uber. But you can do the same thing because after you sign up, you can get an affiliate link and share it with your friends. And when they sign up, they get $20 and you get $20. That's how affiliate marketing works online. That's your opportunity to get some Uber money. I think I can get up to $1,000. So if 50 people sign up and take their first ride, I get $1,000 in my Uber account. You see how that works? Same thing can do for you. So
Riding around in style.
I'm teaching you guys how the internet works here. Affiliate marketing is an extremely awesome thing that anybody can take. I use this thing online. I know I digress again. It's one of those websites with like clocks and watches and cool innovative stuff. And when I signed up for it, I put out an affiliate link and other people signed up for it. And every time they did, I got like $10. So I ended up getting up to $75 to use on the first order. Anyway, so that's how that works. So that's nice. Uber. You can sign up for that over on the website. Please put that there, or remind me to put the link in the description and stuff, so we can do that. And I think now is the time for flying solo.
Yeah. Well, do we start the Wheel of Fro and stuff?
We have to do Gear of the Week.
And Gear of the Week.
Wheel of Fro. Let's do Gear of the Week. I got 2 things this week. And then I'm going to keep you on a timer, Steven Sutter, to make sure that we do...
Flying solo
quicker.
Okay.
This is one of the 2 things. This is a Voyager S3 docking station for my computer. It's a USB 3.0. It's an it's a SATA for SATA hard drives. It has a 2.5-inch slot and it has a 3.5-inch slot for hard drives. It has an active LED, hard drive ejectable, and I don't care about that. And it's USB 3.0 and backward compatible 2.0. Basically, it's think of a jump drive, a USB jump drive, except with hard drives. It now allows, basically, I bought this so that I could have my 4 terabyte hard drive and back up everything so that I can send it to Amazon to send and put them into the Glacier. This thing was $37.99.
Really?
$37.99. Just for the dock, no
Gotcha.
hard drive. But you can put laptop hard drives in, and you can put regular hard drives in that are SATA drives, SATA drives. I believe that's what they're called.
Yeah.
So this thing is great if you want to take data and transfer it and put it on hard drives. This is an option to have for backups and time machines. I like it. And the other thing right here,
it's a really good price for that. I thought it'd be a lot more expensive than that.
Yeah, $37.99 on Amazon is where I bought it, and Otherworld Computing also had it for $37.99.
We love that website.
Otherworld Computing or Amazon? Well, I just thought their shipping takes too long, so that's why I bought it on Amazon, because it was the same price.
Gotcha.
So now we're getting to this next thing. Steven, how much time is left over on these?
5 minutes.
All right, come around here. Can you open this up and take one of these out so I can continue talking, please?
Yep.
Plus, you'll be over here for Flying Wheel of Fro. F&V Lighting, which is fvlighting.com, I believe, has light panels and LED panels that... Remember when we went to Vegas and we didn't have any lighting with us?
Yes, and I wish we did.
After that trip, I sought out a company that did LED lighting that had panels that we could use. So I asked them to send us some panels to use. I may get to keep them. They may become a sponsor. I don't know. That's how a lot of things work, is they're going to get this free advertisement, basically, plug in here.
By the way, while you're getting that, for those who did watch the Vegas video, the RAWtalk there, I did actually color correct every single clip in that, and as it was exporting, my entire computer crashed, and I pretty much lost all of the edits while it was doing that. So that's why it ended up being just the video and cutting. There was nothing fancy or anything, which unfortunately we had to use. But
this is one of the things that they have, and this is an LED light panel. It's a 1x1, so 1 foot by 1 foot. I believe there's 450 LED. Hey, why are there thumbprints? Did you get thumbprints on this? Did you get thumbprints on this?
No, I grabbed it by the
metal.
Yeah.
Probably the guy packing
where I handed it to you from.
Anyway, that doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. But there's like 400 some LED lights on here. 3 of these fit into a case. We could get a Pelican case that's hard case so that we could fly with these and do it as check luggage. This I am looking forward to use and try. They're bright. They're going to be great to have 3 of them. These are going to be great because now I'm going to take this to Alan's camera to make videos. If I can take 1 of these or 2 of these to Alan's and set them up on the stands that I have, and there's magnetic covers for these, so you can diffuse
it, yeah.
diffuse the panel because you can cut back on the power. Is it? I don't know if it's all on or.
Do you normally bring all your lighting to Allen's?
Well, I used to. Look, there's a on the back. There's a dimmer.
Oh, nice.
So you can dim it. No, I used to take my own lights to Allen, but it would become a pain in the butt to take one of the big Westcots.
Oh, yeah.
Then they had their
huge.
set up, but they don't have it set up anymore. So it's a pain in the butt to take an extra half an hour to set it up and break it down. But to have something like this that I can travel with in a bag, set it up, break it down, don't have to bother Allen with them. I can just go there and make videos, which you and I have to go start doing more of. allenscamera.com. Anyway, been very supportive. Stop laughing over there. He almost spit out his nose. Anyway, these are the panels that we're going to try out. I got some rundown of F&V lighting, where they came from.
These are just daylight, right?
You can get daylight or tungsten. I got us the daylight because we do a lot with daylight.
Yeah.
Basically, I asked the guy about the company. I'm like, I haven't really heard of F&V lighting. And he said, well, actually, Todd Wolf uses these. He has a set of them.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
One by one, or does he have bigger
ones? He has
ones?
something like this, and he has the ring light that we talked about last time.
Nice.
The guy told me that they used to OEM for other companies. OEM means that they manufactured it but put somebody else's name on it because somebody paid for the rights to do that. That's a good thing. LG used to be like that. LG used to make TVs and appliances for other people, and then they slapped their own name on it and went out and started to brand it. I love companies that do that. I love companies that are quality enough that other companies want to buy their product and put their name on it. So I'm looking forward to using these. If you wanted to buy a 3-kit set, I believe it's $1,100. So that's not that bad for lights like this that could be used for still photos and for video. Anyway, why don't you do the cameras, because you got to do the Wheel of Fro, Steven. So do the cameras first. I'm looking forward to using these. I think this is how we're going to end up touring and taking these with us on the plane, Steven.
Nice.
They use batteries, which we have. We can put 2 batteries on the back of it. You can get 8 hours of life out of it with the 2 batteries. That's pretty good.
That is really good, actually.
So anyway, we're going to make some videos with it, testing it out. And when Steven is done resetting the cameras, it's time to get to Wheel of Fro. Excuse me. And that's F&V lighting. So just give them a check out. We'll be using them to test out, to see how we like them.
Yeah.
All right, here, let's put this away, Steven.
Really wish we had them 2 weeks ago in Vegas.
Yeah, it was more than 2 weeks at this point, but yeah.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, probably 3 weeks ago.
So now it is time for the Wheel of Fro.
Did you pick a winner?
I did pick a guy. I won't tell his name yet. You know what? We're going to spin it first, and then I'm going to tell the guy his name.
Yeah?
Or girl. Then I'm going to tell them their name.
Anticipation.
Yeah. So we're spinning the wheel for somebody. If you have the initial, if your first name starts with a D, you have an opportunity to win something. So I'm sorry if your initials don't start with a D. So what do we have on the wheel this week? Well, it's the same thing we have on the wheel every week, Pinky. Try to take over the world. Anybody know that reference?
Pinky and the Brain.
Pinky and the Brain. Narf.
Got it.
Borrow lenses. What'd they say they would give? Did they say $200?
I think so.
It was $200, and Borrow Lenses credit is fantastic. We've got Squarespace on here to get a year worth of Squarespace. I believe the business one, which is worth a lot of money, more money than the lesser one. We got Lexar. Somebody, what did they win? I think Lexar wins
the hub,
the Smart
right?
Hub,
Yeah.
which I have set up for my new computer. It's not set up yet, but I can't wait. So thank you, Lexar, for the Smart Hub. We got Adorama Pixes on here so that you can win a Adorama Pix photo book. Love those things. We've got both of my Fro guides. We got the question mark so that you can win whatever you want. Rode. Last week it landed on Rode, and the guy won a Video Mic Go, which is fantastic. Congratulations to that guy. Think Tank was 2 weeks ago for the photo bag. Another Adorama Pix, another Borrow Lenses, Squarespace, and all of that. So are we ready to spin?
We are.
All right, I'm going to stand up and spin because is it all showing up? Can you see it in the wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah? Wheel of Fro. It's going to break one day. Anyway, spinning, and I'm not telling you who the winner is yet. D, if you have the last initial A. So if your initials are D, A, you have a chance to win. Well, it's going to stop. It's going to stop. Why isn't it stopping?
It's going so fast.
It's going to spin itself off the axis. Stop already. Don't touch it, Steven. It's going to stop. It's getting there.
That was the longest.
It's still going.
It's really loose in the back.
Oh, you're going to tighten it up in a minute. But let's just see where it stops in our long show here. Longest spin ever. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Stop. Oh, the Wheel of Fro. I think it's going to stop right about now.
Nah.
As it keeps... There we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I think we got a question mark. No. Is it going to ever stop? There's the question mark again. And borrow lenses. And if it goes backwards, it's going backwards. Borrow lenses. Congratulations to Darren Altman.
So it's really loose.
All right, can you tighten it?
The
you know, that's
pin in
what
the
she
back.
said. But congratulations, Darren Altman. You won a $200 in credit to borrow lenses. That means you could rent a 300 2.8 for like 4 days. Something like that. Or you could get a D4. Or you could get a bunch of lenses,
You could
a
do
bunch
a
of toys.
D4 and probably a lens.
You probably could.
Yeah.
So Darren, I'll be contacting you to get you your credit. Now it's time for flying solo. We ready, Steven?
Yes, sir.
I've got some.
He's got to do time, right?
Yeah. Anyway, you're gonna hold me to like 2 minutes per question. All right. Don't tighten it too much. What are you doing, young man? Nice job. Yes. All right. Now get back to work. Thank you. You've been doing your timers and everything? All right, so just follow the time on there and just give me 2 minutes when I finish reading the question. I've got 2 long questions to start. One was from Jackie Blakeney. She's been following a long time, and she had an issue on a photo shoot, and she said, how would I have handled it? So I want to read it because I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
What would you have done in my situation that I had this past weekend? On Saturday, I had to shoot portraits for 4 basketball teams, Pee-wee girls and boys and youth girls and boys, over 50 kids total. First off, awesome job that she's picking up jobs like this.
Yeah, that's a big job.
Which is great. I had a schedule that was given to me to go by. Certain teams first, second, and so on, they had a schedule because of their game times. Anyway, everything was going fine until an unruly and asshole of a coach and parent started raising hell that their team wasn't first. Keep in mind, the schedule was not made by me, but this guy was cussing. I like to say cursing. I don't even know what cussing is.
I don't know why people
It's the
say
same thing.
cussing.
Yeah, thank you, Sutter. Cursing and being rude, loud and obnoxious. Sounds like me sometimes. Yelling that I need to hurry the hell up. I was pissed, but I kept my mouth shut and kept on shooting. Well, then he proceeds to tell the team that I was shooting that they need to let his team go ahead and start their photos because he was in a hurry to be somewhere. I was going as fast as I could. I was having to help fill out order forms and take payments. And she did have one assistant.
That's good.
It was averaging 20 minutes a team, which isn't bad, to get all the individual portraits done and a group portrait. I thought that was moving along pretty fast myself.
Really fast.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
No.
I was nervous and upset with the guy screaming at me that it made me second guess everything. How do you handle the crap without making a scene or making yourself look bad? I ignored his rant, but kept assuring him that I would get to his team as soon as I could. The other teams had games to go to. He was just being impatient and ignorant. His game wasn't until later that evening. Sorry for the long novel and ranting, but I'm still upset over this. I've never had to deal with this before. I have shot school functions and sports even before, but I've never came across this type of thing. Okay.
That was a long email.
We needed but it needed to be read.
It did,
to make
yeah.
the
I mean,
point.
everything there was detailed, yeah.
First off, it's good she had an assistant helping out. That's very important on a shoot like this. How would I have handled this asshole? First off,
You would have called him an asshole.
I
That's what you
probably would have put him in his place after some time arguing. I wouldn't have said that, hey, I'm working as fast as I can. We're getting there. That just pisses people off more. I would have found the person that made the schedule first and foremost, the person that's my contact with the league, and I would have told them what's going on. Because that way, that guy or girl can go over to this guy who's being an asshole and tell him, put him in his place, so it's not me having to do it. That's the thing I would have done first. I would have had my assistant go grab the person in charge and said, hey, this guy's giving us trouble. He's causing tension. He's making these teams, he's trying to tell the teams that he needs to go. That's not going to work. So please tell him that he needs to wait his turn, or see if you can shuffle this around to make the asshole get out of here quicker, right? If that guy wasn't around, I probably would have taken the guy to the side, and I probably would have said something nicely to him like, look, this is a schedule we have to go by. I'm sorry you have to go somewhere soon. If you need to leave. Or let's take your picture now and we'll cut you into the image later. Come up with a solution. Like, you know what? Let's take a picture of you, pretend you're in the group shot, then we'll cut you in later. And then you can get out of here. Does that work for you? So, I don't know. That just came up on the top of my head right now as something that could have worked. But definitely, here, use this when it's time on the next question, all right? Please. Just hold it up to the Mike, you want him to hold it up to the
it's
mic
fine.
when he does it? So that's what I would have done. I think she did all right. 20 minutes per team isn't bad. I just would have handled it, either put him in his place myself, come up with a solution that didn't take up too much time, because I would have said the more you bitch, the longer it's going to take, the longer you're going to be here. You either shut the hell up and let me get my job done and get to you quicker, or we're going to be here longer because I got to keep stopping and talking to your ass.
That would have been a perfect statement
Now
to make.
sit down and shut the hell up.
Now, she said she kept second guessing herself.
Well, because then she started to get worried that she's now moving too quick to stay calm.
But I understand that. But like, did the pictures come out?
I didn't ask. I'm sure they came out fine, but that's something that I would have done. If last resort would have told him to shut the hell up and
I
sit
like
down.
how you bleeped yourself.
Well, I cut myself because there's no point in just doing that. All right, so we've got, moving on to the next one, Stephen Miller. Go on, take your money and run. Clock didn't start until I'm done reading.
I'm aware.
Recently got offered to shoot a wedding in Canada. All expenses paid, including travel. This is another long one. All expenses paid, compensation for shooting that wedding as well. I told them I personally wanted to do this, and so I gave them a smoking deal on the compensation, next to nothing basically. So just travel expenses and some change. The lady booking was very ecstatic and said she loved my work. A few days later, I got a call back saying I charged her too little, and she didn't want to book me anymore. This sucks. I felt like I was being genuine and kind, saying this is something I wanted to shoot. But did that hurt my business aspect of the deal? I've heard you before say something. You offer a client a deal because it's something you want to shoot. Please help me understand what I did wrong, or was this just a rare occurrence? P.S. You should do an episode where the Stevens have to wear Despicable Me minion costumes.
Hell no.
Did you? I don't know that I would have told them I was giving them a smoking deal or would have offered it to do for almost nothing. But the fact that the lady said that she liked your work and was very happy and you made her happy leads me to believe that it was the husband or fiance that went ahead and said, no, I don't want to use this guy. And she just used that as a bullshit response to tell you that she didn't want you to do her job.
Yeah.
That's how I would take it. Nothing against you. I don't think you did anything wrong. You made them an offer. You were upfront and said, this is something I really want to shoot. Here's my cost. Here's what I'm going to do for you. Cover the expenses. I'm going to cut you a little bit of a break. That's such bullshit that they came along and came up with that excuse. Don't know what to tell you other than I think that it was the husband or fiance who must have said something about it, because if she liked your work and liked your price, she should have gone with you.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense besides that.
Okay. Sorry. Drinking water. Now we need to get moving. Yep. Everything's still blinking. Keith Ueda. Ueda. I'm an amateur videographer and would love to know the advantages of using the Atomos and ProRes codecs when it comes to quality of the finished video versus using my D800 set to codecs and compression. Thanks, Jared and Steven. So talk about why you use the full-on straight off the sensor video from that.
Well, basically the ProRes is, first of all, it's 10-bit. It's not 8-bit, which is the codec in the D800. So you're going to get a lot more information in the image. It's almost close to fully raw. It's considered uncompressed, but or lossless or something.
It's not raw. Don't confuse that.
It's not completely raw, yeah. But
it's just the most data that you can get out of it.
Pretty much, and it's straight off that sensor. Now, it does use the color profile or the picture style that you have set in your D800 or whatever DSLR you're using.
So you could flatten it, or you could...
Yeah, so you can make it as flat as possible with that 10-bit codec, the ProRes, bring that in. There's ProRes HQ on there as well, which I think is just a higher data rate. I think it's like 200-something megabytes a second or something like that. It's a ton. I know that. Where the standard DSLR, I think, is around 30 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the exact numbers.
I'm not sure the exact numbers, but basically it's just a more of a rawer video.
So basically, you would use the Atomos if you need to do continuous recording over the 20 minutes that the D800 would let you do, or you need to just record a ton throughout the day and want to record on a 2.5-inch drive, which then you could pop into... I think this docking station would then allow you to put the Atomos SSD in there.
It should,
by the way. So you would do that if you want the higher quality. You need to shoot longer form. But if you're just running and gunning, you may not want to throw the Atomos on there.
No, I wouldn't.
But if you need a lot of recording time and you need the higher quality, then that is why you jump to that.
Yeah, I mean, you're recording a soccer game or something. You know, obviously Atomos is the way to go versus stopping every 20 minutes or something like that.
Give me a minute and a half, all right, each time.
All right.
Did we even hit the 2 minutes?
You will in 5 seconds. Do you want it?
Why is there a shovel on your arm? Is that a new tattoo?
Yeah.
Why? Can you explain to me the shovel on your arm, please?
Do you really want to know, or you just beat me up?
No. Is it like, explain to me.
Basically, what the tattoo means to me is to get anything you want in life, you have to work hard, but you have to remember that everyone ends up in the ground, so don't take things so seriously. I know.
All right. I mean, that's what tattoos mean to you. That's the point.
Yeah,
I can't sit here and rip on you, but you have a shovel on your arm.
I do.
And I thought, was the tagline, "Can you dig it?"
Can you
What
dig?
on? I put that on Instagram. I was like, "You dig?"
Yeah,
With
do
a
you
question
dig? All
mark.
right. Well, that's interesting. That's what it means to you. So I can't rip on you for that. That's your choice. I was just wondering, did you get that at the tattoo show?
Yeah, I worked on someone's banner for them, and I made it for them, so they give me some free time.
So
Nice.
exactly, you went and did jobs over at the tattoo convention, which I wanted to go to, but I was away. And Mike Olleback, did you go see him? He had
I
a
stopped
booth.
at his booth.
He had a booth.
Nice.
Perfect place. He's a wedding photographer, and he takes a booth out at the. He's a tattooed bride wedding photographer. He took out a booth at the
perfect
tattoo
place to
show.
market.
That
And-
is the best place to
And
market.
didn't he say that he was actually going to not really be at the booth most of the times? He was going to go to the other tattoo
Yep.
booths. So yeah.
All right. So I don't know. I was just interested in hearing about that. How many tattoos do you have?
Like 4.
You have a Prince Albert?
I don't even know what that is.
He doesn't know what
That's a
it is.
piercing.
He doesn't know what it is.
Google
Google,
it.
get on my computer. Get in my
No.
computer right now and type in Prince Albert in
Are
Google.
you dead serious?
Yeah, type in Prince Albert. It's not the first time naked things have shown up on my computer.
By the way, not safe for work for those who don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's
Don't
not safe for
Google
work.
it.
Google it and look up the images, Prince Albert, and click on images. All right, we're going to keep
This is
going.
all-
Full res images.
Bradley Kaplan, when you are asked to work and it requires long distance.
Oh, it's showing the actual Prince Albert.
I there's some other images.
But you saw the other ones,
Yeah.
yeah.
You now get what a Prince Albert
Yeah,
is?
thanks.
You're welcome.
I really wanted to see that.
All right. When you're asked to work out of state and it requires long distance out of state travel, how much more do you ask for in monetary compensation, travel comp? Sometimes it's like a quarter of your day rate, or maybe it's a half of your day rate, because you still need to travel. You need to get paid. I remember Jim Marshall talking to me about his Nissan shoot that he did. He shot the campaign for the GTR when it first was announced in Japan. I don't know if I can say what he made. I don't know.
Well, Jim Marshall?
Yeah,
Well,
he's
he's
dead.
not around, so.
I think he was getting like $9,600 a day for the job,
shoot.
for the
Okay.
shoot. And I think he was getting like $4,000 for the days off.
Wow.
That's when you make it, right? And that's
Yeah.
that's probably not even the highest end, but anyway, that's what he was getting. So when I was traveling with Matis, I built in there money for travel days because I'm traveling a half a day, which ended up being a longer time, but I had 2 days of travel in there that would take up a lot of time. So I need to get paid for that. You have to come up with a price. A quarter of your day rate, half a day rate, but not your full day rate.
Especially because you had that 15-hour flight.
I could have been in Australia.
Yeah, you really could have.
Abel Rigo, make the time 1 minute now.
Okay.
Abel Rigo, because you're shooting candids, do you stay at the residence to get the genuine candid aspect of it, or is there an allotted time to shoot? Side note, what was the project with Modest for? Album cover? It's not for the album cover, but hey, if they did decide to do that, that would be cool. It was more for promotion, for marketing, for tour posters. And the way, I'll tell you how I priced, I'm not going to give you the pricing that I got, but I will tell you what I worked out with them. When a job comes along and you can make it easy for somebody in this day and age, and you say, I'm going to go do the shoot, and you have rights to use the images, unlimited, I still own them theoretically, but you have unlimited rights, that's like them owning it too. So they can do whatever they want except for merch, selling it for merch, and they can do whatever they want with the images. So that's what I did. So that's why I pick a price, and that's what I get paid.
I think that's a good way to handle it.
Yeah, it makes it easy. And
Does.
even Bob Gruen talked about that. He said, wow, if somebody was going to pay me X amount of dollars to buy everything out back then, I would have been doing jobs like that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's because you get the job and you get it done. So do I always stay at the residence? No, but in this case, it was great to stay at the residence because when he woke up in the morning, all right, that's good. Stop. I get overtime. When he woke up in the morning and
you can't do overtime.
When he woke up in the morning and he stopped, he was making breakfast for the kids. I took photos of that. So it's really good to be embedded with them.
In bed with them.
I wasn't really in. It depends who you're with. Like that. Who was that girl on the Grammys? That country singer.
The one with the little skirt thingy.
Oh God, yes. Her. What was her name?
I don't know.
Google that, please.
I think her
country
name was
star
Prince
on the
Albert.
Grammys. It wasn't Prince Albert. Girl on the Grammys, and then get back to me because if she, I would love to photograph her. She was so hot. Anyway, sorry for the women out there that think I'm sexist and a freaking misogynist, as somebody just told me that somebody said that when I named it Tattoo Brides, like
we talk about girls being good looking.
When I talk about girls being good looking, or that I said tattooed brides are hot, she took offense to that.
How is that?
That's not offensible. You can't take offense to that because you don't know what the tattoo bride looks like. It's just a general statement. That was more of clickbait. It was true. We're doing an interview with a guy about tattooed brides, and I said tattoo brides are hot. That's just telling what it is and giving people a reason to click on it.
Yeah.
All right. So, Abel, I hope I answered your question. Did you find it?
Her?
No, I can't see. Just yes, her. What's her name?
Yes, her.
Casey Musgrove.
Oh my God, she is. She would make me listen to country music muted if I could watch her. Anyway, Ian Middleton Duff again. It's not the first time you have photographed Matisyahu in an obvious question, but how do you keep your shots fresh as opposed to shooting the same as previous? Do you look back at your previous shots and think, right, this is what, turn the page, I do this time, or just case of see what happens? I didn't look back at what I already took because I know what I've taken. I kind of visualize all the things I've taken. And yes, this is a concern when you photograph an artist multiple times. This is why I won't go on tour for long amounts of time with people, because you end up getting the same shit over and over again. This was a new situation. This was a new challenge. I was worried about getting something different, but I've never been in this situation with him, so I was happy to get what I got. Next question. Josh Hitchcock. What lenses did you take on your trip? I took the 24 to 70, 70 to 200, 14 to 24. Hebrew Trinity. I took the fisheye 16 millimeter, which I took 0 shots with. I took the 105 macro, which I took 0 shots with. I packed my airport security, which is getting big. I also need to figure out a new way of traveling with a smaller bag, just in case I encounter a plane that doesn't take my airport security, which the first plane, the 757, did not. Luckily, they put it in the closet for me. And when I was traveling home, I made sure to pack my Urban Disguise 35 backpack with my camera gear because I kind of had a feeling that I may have checked my bag, but I actually didn't. But I took the airport security because I put my retrospective 30 in the bottom of that because I knew that I had to shoot and walk around, and that is the best bag to shoot out with. I want to develop my own bag now for traveling. I'm thinking about it. I may do that. So that's pretty much what I took.
That'd be cool.
Jake Easton, how do you choose what attribute in the exposure triangle to get set first, second, and third? It's a good question.
That is a
for
good
anybody
question.
out there, we do talk about this in the Fronos Photo Beginner Guide to Getting Out of Auto, but the first thing I always set is my ISO.
I do too.
Then I go ahead and pick my aperture for where I want it to be.
That's exactly what I do.
And then I toy with the shutter. The first thing I end up changing, if the light changes, is my shutter speed.
I usually change, well, it depends.
First things foremost, if the light changes on stage and it gets extremely bright, I tick my finger to the right.
Yeah.
That changes the
If
shutter.
I'm shooting
it
something
adds
like
more.
a concert, yeah.
Yeah, and if it gets darker, I open it up. But then you get to the point where you have to look and say, oh my God, the shutter speed's too slow. Is this going to affect my images? At that point, you either look at the aperture and say, do I have any room to move? If you're at 3.5 or 2.8, you don't have room to move. In my opinion, I like shooting at 3.5 to give myself more leeway. That's when you start bumping the ISO. That is at the point that I make the change. So I think that answers that question.
Yeah.
Christian Gratz. Hi, Jared and Steven. When you shoot candid photos of your client or whoever it might be, how do you decide what you can or cannot shoot? Cannot shoot photos now because it's too private or whatever reason it might be? Do you just give the client every photo and let them decide? Was there any time the situation where the client let you use a photo but you didn't use it and why. So it's your job as a photographer to self-edit before you even shoot. If you feel there's something going on that should not be seen, do not take a picture of it.
Yeah.
You have to be respectful. If they know you're there and they're doing things in front of you, then they're aware of it, then you can take pictures of it. But that may mean those images may never see the light of day.
There's plenty of images that I've taken that have never seen the light of day because of that.
So there's times to put the camera down, and then there's times to ask permission. Where if somebody's with their kid and you go, is it all right if I do this? Case in point, when I was touring with Matis, and the kid went and slept with his dad in the bed in the back of the bus, and I woke up, and Matis woke up too real quick, and I said, can I shoot? And he's like, yes. Because that was with his kid in bed, I didn't know if that was something that maybe I shouldn't do.
Yeah.
So at that point, I did it, and those photos are fantastic. So that's one thing that I did.
That's a perfect example.
So I think, all right. Eric Iceberg Gilmore. Regards to working on location, if you have some location that another photographer friend sees in your photos and they ask where to find that location, do you share the information? I find that a lot of photographers aren't willing to help other photographers find new locations, which seems more like insecurity in their work or not wanting competition using their secret spots. I tell locations to anyone who asks, but seems when I reach out and get cold shoulder, other than driving around aimlessly, how do you get information on new locations? Well, you get new information on locations by traveling around and finding them. It's called scouting.
Just driving.
I have no problem telling anybody where I shoot. There are things that I'm very protective of. I am very protective of somebody coming along and trying to do what I do and taking jobs. But on the other side, I've given out how much information for the last 4 years that have helped a lot of people. But people will know that if somebody comes to me and is trying to invade in my territory, the help meter does go off at times. Because as they start to invade where I'm going, like, I don't want to give away certain things. I've given away a lot. I am not afraid to give somebody a location, though. It's a location. You never know what they're going to do there. And it's not about the location. It's about the photos for the most part.
I don't think location's a huge deal to give away, but just for finding them, for example, that one photo shoot that I did with that one dude with the graffiti background, I drove all around Philly for maybe a good hour or two, took my GPS and marked certain locations on the GPS that I thought were good spots, and then took him around in my car, and we just hit like 10 different spots.
That's cool.
That I marked out, and it worked out perfectly,
That works. Okay. Juan Lamus, Lamus.
Lamus.
Yeah, it's not lame ass. It's Lamus.
Lamus.
Juan Lamus. He's not French because there's a J in there.
Lamus. I don't know.
I have equipment, but I don't have a studio. I mostly shoot on location. I want to start shooting in venues, but I'm required to have insurance. But no insurance company can cover me if I don't have a studio. Any advice on this issue? I don't think you need to have a studio. I don't have a studio. I have insurance. I've got a Marine Midland policy, as I've said before, through, let's see, it's used to be Erie, and now I am through Travelers, which had a great coverage, great umbrella. That's their advertisement. Great umbrella policy that covers everything. So I got my gear covered, and then I have liability. I have $3 million in liability, I believe. And that means if somebody trips over my bag on a shoot, or my assistant punches somebody in the face, or my assistant does something stupid and somebody trips over the wire, then I'm covered. I have $3 million in liability. You can get liability insurance without having a studio. So just look for it.
Yeah.
Bill Brooks, are you still going to do a video on how to upsize files and get them ready to be printed poster sized? Yep, that is on the list. We've been very busy. Steven's been traveling. I've been traveling. Next week for 4 days, I'm doing the Fronos Photo
and the week after
video shoot, and the week after. So we have to figure out, this is going to be a long show. We may just put, I don't know, we'll discuss that after. We have to do another show to whatever. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it might be a nighttime RAWtalk.
Yeah,
or
we may just have to do it after
or something.
My voice is going to be shot because I'll be talking a lot during the video shoots.
We
put a lot. We shoot we start maybe 8 or 9 in the morning and go till 5 or 6, depending on how my lunch goes. Because I totally crash. I can work from 7 in the morning till 2 without eating or more. But as soon as I eat,
you're done.
I just kind of crash. And then what ends up happening, and this happened on other shoots, is after, did somebody bring a Mountain Dew to my place?
No, that's my ginger ale that I brought.
Oh. So what ends up happening is it takes me 2 hours to then recover. And by the time I'm recovered, it's like 6, 7 o'clock after eating. And I'm ready to go till 10, 11 at night and everybody else is done.
Yeah, between 2 to 4 is like the worst time for you.
For me, I
done.
crash. I'm done. Eddie Morales, during your shoot, how often did you snap photos? Did you put your camera down at all? How do you decide when to shoot and when it's time to relax a bit? P.S. I want to spin the wheel of fro. I didn't shoot during dinners. I rarely shoot when people are eating. That's not a good thing. How far in, Steven?
An hour 40 minutes.
All right, we're almost done. So I put down the camera when we're hanging out, put the camera down at most restaurants, and just lounge. At the end of the day, bad lighting, I'm probably not shooting. We're just going to have fun and hang out. So that's when I put it down. Junior Wyatt, do you have images in your head that you want to capture before arriving, or do you just go with the flow when you arrive and shoot the opportunities that come about? I always pre-visualize a lot of things, but a lot of the pre-visualization happens when you get to a new scene. If you've never been there before, the first time you see it, I go, yeah, I like this. I like this. Oh, those stairs that we walk down in Modest's place, those could be good. Oh, you've got this window light. Yeah, let's play with that. Those window shots you saw with his back against the wall look like an amazing studio. Then the shots of him in the corner with the Hollywood Hills in the background.
I like that one a lot.
Golden hour. Basically, during golden hour, I saw the light change. He was out front having a discussion with his manager, and I interrupted him. I said, "You need to be in here right now. This is golden. This is the time I wanted to shoot you.
You got like a half
this is
an
what
hour.
we're waiting." No, we had like 6 minutes.
Then
the light was gone.
Wow.
But I got that golden light, and those photos are it. It took all day, but we got it. So that was that. Ed Rhodes, how large is your carry-on? Have you been forced to gate check due to the crowded flights, small planes? Were you able to talk your way out of gate check? If not, what gear do you take out of the bag and carrying? Okay, so we almost talked about this earlier. Didn't have any problems. The only problem I talked about was that it didn't fit in the 757, which is an older plane that it didn't fit in, so they put it in the closet for me. Luckily, it was an empty flight, so I did that. I'm going to start traveling. I want to travel with the smaller bag. I've got the Airport International, which is smaller, but I also have the Airport Navigator, which can put a laptop in, which is much smaller, and a backpack. The only thing that I always try to travel less with, which is clothes. I wear one pair of jeans. I don't even take an extra pair. I'll wear them for 3-4 days if I need to, maybe 5 or 6. I don't care.
Maybe 3 weeks.
Nah, you do that on tour between washing them. But I take a bunch of shirts, underpants, and socks. That's what I need to pack in. So I try to take 2 bags to carry it on at all times. If we start taking these F&V lighting things, we may need to travel around and start checking some stuff. But when I was coming back in LA, before I got to security, this girl's like, "Can you please put your bag in this thing to make sure it fits?" I'm like, "Do you know how many?" And I tried not to be a dick, but I actually was a dick. Do you know? I'm going to extend it over time. Like, I've taken 100 flights with this bag and never had an issue. She's like, "I need to see it fit." I'm like, "You're really kidding me?" Because nobody ever has asked for me. So I made it fit into this freaking thing. I made it fit. She's like, "Okay." And she went. And I was like, "I'm not going to check this. This is camera equipment. I'm not checking it." But before I got to the airport, when I was packing, I already packed stuff in my backpack just in case I needed to check it. Because I had a feeling we're taking a McDonnell Douglas, an MD-90, which is a plane the McDonnell Douglas doesn't even make planes anymore for flights like this. It ended up fitting there, luckily, but I was prepared to have to check. I want to start traveling with a smaller bag, try to tighten it up a little bit, and travel with the right gear.
So if you had to check, what would you have brought with you in your bag, like your D4S? D4.
I put all the lenses except for the 105, and I put the hard drive from the shoots because I backed up everything. Okay. I put that in the carry-on with me because you want that stuff on you in case something gets lost.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
That's the important thing.
Theft.
Right, or stolen. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I would do. Mava Silva, acquaintances asked to shoot at their reunion concert this Friday. They just assumed I'd do it for free. Normal. As I'm just starting in the business. Bullshit. How much free work before I can start charging? And do you increase your prices as your pictures become better, or do you just put a price in your work? Look, free work is fine. The modest stuff I did to start was free. It was a means to an end. It ended up making me money because I ended up getting jobs because of the quality work I did. Do not keep giving away your shit. It's okay to get your foot in the door, but make them aware that you're doing them a major favor. They wouldn't play a show for free unless they got something major out of it, like played a 104.5 event or played a radio event or something like that. Unless there's major exposure coming out of it. So do it to get your foot in the door. And at that point, you say, you need to start compensating me. You get paid to do your show. You're using my work to help you make money. I need to get paid. You have to be forceful, but that's the world we live in today. People think that you just get paid to push a button. Just throw it back at them. Just throw it back. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Nicholas Ryan Watts, what kind of snacks do you eat on your flight? Good question. I prepared to fly all day. I actually pre-made my chicken the night before because I knew I'd be flying a long time, didn't know I'd be delayed 12 hours. So I ate my chicken on the plane so I could actually get some protein in me. I may drink a protein shake before I leave, but I always have peanut butter crackers. I always have fruit and nut bars. I like to eat pretzels, but pretzels have no protein. So I try to eat things that are protein filled because that's why I don't drink soda on the plane unless I'm having a Jack and Coke. I'll drink apple juice or I'll drink water. Try to stay hydrated because that's important when traveling. You don't want to feel bad. You don't want to get a headache. And when I get a headache, I'm not happy when I travel. And when I'm not happy, I can be an asshole. And I don't want to be that. What were you laughing at?
Just that you were like, good question.
Oh.
Out of all the questions,
yeah.
What do you eat on a plane? Good question.
Well, it is a good question. If you're traveling a long period of time, you need to have food. You need to, because they don't give you food on
I know,
planes
it's just
anymore.
funny you didn't say about the other ones.
Lorenz, are all these cameras still recording, hopefully?
Yeah, you have a minute left.
Yeah,
on the
but are they
cameras.
still recording is what I'm asking. Lorenz Hetzel, when photographing artists, yes? Well, that's all that matters. Nobody cares about Steven. No, I'm just kidding. The GoPro's still going. When photographing artists in private environment,
Wait
e.g.
till I
their
delete
homes,
your data.
do you discreetly stay back or direct them and tell them what to do? Something like hold that pose? Absolutely. When I'm working, even if they're candid shots, I will say, look this way, look that way, put your eyes there, hold that, do this again. You have to direct. Not everything can be completely candid.
Yeah.
They're still candid photos because you saw something. Just let them go about, like, Matis, I need you to look up into the light because when you bring your head down, what happens is your eyes are in shadow. That doesn't help me out. But because the light is where it's at, so keep that in mind that the light is up there. So definitely look up that way more often. And that's what they want. That gave him some good direction. Ryan Cootie, 2014 boot camps, thinking so. LA, like to go to LA.
That'd be cool.
And I'm thinking we may just do one in Philly when it comes time. Less of them this year, but we're not really announcing where they're gonna be. We're gonna pick them really maybe 2 months in advance and just hammer them out and go do them. Maybe London, maybe Israel. I don't know. David Angelov, what did your daily routine look like for shooting Matis? Daily routine, it was only 2 days. We woke up at 6:30 one morning because we wanted to get out to the pier down at Venice Beach. Got out there, did shooting. We stopped and got lunch, did more shooting, came home, did dinner, went out one night, got some food, hung out, and that's really it. We worked. I worked. That's what we did. I did my work at night for the website. David Ford, how did you back up your photos while in LA? So ideally, I would like to get multiple my camera takes XQD and CF cards currently. Don't know what the D4S is going to take. But I want to get more compact flash cards, a lot of them, so that when I fill a card, I can reformat the one. I have 2 XQD, so I can reformat the XQD cards, but then have a backup of every CF card that I use. So I'd rather have 6 or 8 of those to travel with in case I fill 8 cards if I go on a tour, so that I always have that solid state somewhere. But then I backed up to my laptop, so they were on that hard drive. Then I backed up to a RAID system G drive. A G-RAID, which was really fast with FireWire. I'm not sure if I'm going to ever tour with the Drobos that I have because they take up a lot of space. The Drobo Mini.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe there's another option for me. We'll see. Not sure. Devin Ford, how did you back up your photos in LA? I just read that one. Photos by Ricardo. Oh my God, that's like Photos by Deb. You know what movie that's from?
No.
No
Where's
idea.
that from?
Oh my God, Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we can't argue. Were you editing as you went? Did you hold off until you got home? I won't read the rest of this. I don't edit on the road unless it's a necessity and they need something quick because the laptop screen, not nearly as good as what I can get from at home on the iMac. Plus, I like being on a 27-inch screen versus being on a 13-inch screen on the MacBook Pro. I don't like editing on the road, but also
I don't
I
either.
like to look through the images to see what I got to make sure they're sharp so that I know if I need to redo something. So that's what I do on the road. Last question. Eric Eric Hoffman, Brotherhood of the Faith, I think. What is the best way to breach the subject with a client of shooting backstage with them? Have you found that it's a mixture of having a good portfolio and the just asking? So it's a mix of everything. How I got to shoot Modest the very first time, contacted them, asked for access, all access backstage, followed it up right there with links to multiple shoots that I've done with other artists that are well known. Perry Farrell and the other bands that I've worked with. I sent them that stuff, showed them I'm the real deal, explained to them exactly what I wanted to do, and did it. And that is why I got the access. When I used to travel around in the film days or early digital days, I had a 4x6 book. I don't like carrying around. I mean, an iPad mini would be good to have that you can showcase to a tour manager. This is the work I do backstage. Can I maybe get backstage to shoot? That's asking and proving at the same time. That's exactly what I would do. So that is going to be it, man. That's RAWtalk episode number 72 or 72B, which would become 73 if we decide to split it into two, which I doubt we're going to do.
I guarantee you won't split
Well, because I'm thinking of there's the plugs and there's the sponsors that need to go into different episodes and blah, 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 which I can end up doing beforehand, but whatever. I don't need to take up more time. We'll probably just keep it the way it is, and it's just a long-ass show. And so we talked about a lot. Congratulations to, what's his name? Darren Altman. He got the Wheel of Fro. Thank you to Borrow Lenses for the $200 in credit there. I want to thank Rode Microphones for the Rode mics that we continue to use, as well as helping us keep this a free podcast, which it's always, the plan is always to be free. They support our tuchises by funding us to keep this going. So thank them. We thank them. We use them. Want to thank allenscamera.com. Go to allenscamera.com for all your camera, Nikon, Canon needs. Whatever you want to get, check them out. They have a bunch of great used gear. So give them a call. Talk to Alan, Brandon, Marlena, or Rob. They have a website, but definitely talk to them on the phone because they're a mom and pop store. They take care of me since day one. They were the first people to help me out with like sponsorship and stuff, which was great. So I continue to help them throughout the years. And Atomos, we got them running. They are a sponsor as well. We love using their products. Check them out. Thank you to Sutter over there for helping out.
Thank you.
Hope you get a Prince Albert.
I hate you. I actually hate you.
And Eckert, Steven, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That was a long-ass RAWtalk. A lot of information, a lot of stuff to talk about. We did. Did I do all this right? I did.
I hope.
Hopefully everything was recording, unlike at the beginning. So there you guys have it. That's RAWtalk episode number 72. Thank you guys for watching. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.